Notification obligations are related to the principle of transparency. As already explained in Module 2, it is fundamental that trade regulations are made accessible to governments and traders. Most notifications are, by the way, accessible on the WTO website. Members, in particular, are required to notify through the WTO Secretariat the laws and regulations that they use to implement their WTO obligations. The WTO councils and committees participate in the monitoring and review of these notifications. So if we have to ask why to notify, I would say that notifications allow the WTO members to be informed about the members' policies that affect trade. They allow other governments and traders to know who is doing what. It should be noted that other countries' notifications provide an important source of information regarding market access practices that can help to identify export possibilities or trade restrictive practices. That is important as it is often private operators that are affected by the measures that are notified. All members benefit from notification, but particularly small developing members and LDCs, which do not often have the means to have access to this information elsewhere. Adequate compliance with notification requirements, however, also has some challenges. It requires enhanced cooperation and coordination among different national entities involved in providing the data and other information needed to fulfill the notification requirement. Another question could be, what has to be notified? The WTO agreements contain different notification requirements depending on the subject matter. In general, WTO members should notify to the WTO their trade regulations, including new ones and modification to such regulation, as well as measures having an impact on trade. Some agreements also require members to submit a notification before a proposed new regulation is implemented, so that trading partners have an opportunity to comment, except in urgent situations. That is the case, for examples, of the SPS and TBT agreements. In addition, these agreements require the designation of inquiry points, a government office that can provide, upon request, information on applied measures. In some areas, such as agriculture, only a limited number of notification requirements will apply to a particular member. This is because they depend on the specific commitments set out in each member's schedule of concessions, as well as on the action that the member may decide to take. Notification obligations are spread out across all WTO agreements. There are also WTO decisions and guidelines containing procedures and rules on notifications. If we look at the timing of notification, that is the question when to notify, we could say that once a member is joining the organization, it has to notify the implementing legislation, that is, laws, regulation, decision of general application. These notifications are one-time notification. Then, members have an outstanding obligation to notify any change. These are of an ad hoc nature, that is, the obligation becomes due only if and when a specific measure is introduced or about to be introduced. They are required to be notified only if and when a specific action occurs. In addition to one-time and ad hoc notification, there is a third category of notification, so-called periodic notification. These are notifications that are regularly submitted in line with frequencies and deadlines that are established in the corresponding procedures. They include sometimes annual notification every year, or semi-annual twice a year, or every 2 years notification. For example, members shall annually notify the extent of their domestic support measure to the Committee on Agriculture. This is Article 18, Paragraph 2 of the Agreement on Agriculture. Members shall also notify on an annual basis a set of tariff duties and import statistics to the WTO Integrated Database, the IDB, and this is contained in document WT/L/225. Members are also required to annually reply to a questionnaire on import licensing procedures in accordance with Article 7.3 of the Agreement on Import Licensing Procedures. In some cases, WTO members are required to notify that they have not undertaken a certain action. An example is the notification required under the Agreement on Agriculture regarding the maintenance of export subsidies. Even if no export subsidy is maintained, a notification is required. Another category refers to a notification by a member on behalf of another member that has not complied with an outstanding obligation. This notification is quite rare and is known as reverse notification or counter notification.